Excellent. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Tipple's virtual wine tasting with Elizabeth and Jeff Vaudreuil hosting it, the owners of Tipple's Brews and Wines in Gainesville, Florida. And by the way, Bubbles and Kiwi, it says just the Kiwi, so John has to get out of screen. This week, we are going to be enjoying an audible on my part, but really, really great wine. No stranger, he's a rock star of winemaking. Dave Phinney's Locations California Red Blend. A really, really interesting combo of grapes, one that you will never have had before in this combination, which is, I think, one of the fun things about this line. We'll talk about Dave a little bit. We'll talk about what created this line of wines, and it is a whole spectrum of wonderful wines from around the world in his Location series. But most importantly, we'll talk about how delicious it is. So let's start with pouring a glass. If you have not already done so, I like to give mine a light chill to bring it down to around 60 degrees to get started. So that's based on European cellar temperatures. In Florida, that means about a 30-minute chill in the refrigerator will get you, close to where you want to start. And then it'll just warm up to room temperature.
Our cellars don't really get you all that cold.
Oh, in Florida, our cellars just get you wet.
Yeah. Exactly.
True. That is a truth fact. Can we, will you do me a favor and pull up the slide? We'll talk about pairings. I know you guys didn't get to see this because we had to change wines this week because of a lack of delivery, but COVID is still affecting some
their
things.
truck broke, so.
What can you do?
Yeah.
But we're still here. We soldiered on and we drink on, right? So food pairings, cured meats, veal medallions, beef Wellington, and chocolat.
If you eat veal.
That's right. If you eat, the bottom line is red meats, charcuterie platter, cheeses, they'll all work. I like to just throw something a little more fun in there instead of saying steak every week.
Right. Okay. So red meats, mushrooms.
Mushrooms, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. You could do, all kinds of things. So you could do, grilled portobello, burger, that kind of a thing if you're on the vegan side.
Yes.
So absolutely. And let's jump back.
Did we talk about the ratings? Did I miss that? I was drinking and I wasn't really paying attention. So.
No, good point. All right. So this is the Locations 8. It is not a vintage.
Okay.
This is the 8th iteration of this red blend.
Okay.
That was done for a reason. We'll talk about that later as well. But this guy, these wines have been getting 90 points almost year on year on year. But this guy jumped up a little bit. So we got a 92 pointer this year. So a little something extra.
And this is the 8th one, like WD-40.
That's right. This
was the 40th one. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. So stop the share.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. Let's first take get a little enjoy some of the aromas, the flavors, get initial thoughts.
I very much like its redness.
Yeah, right. Well, it has a lot going on, but it is a big, really rich red. Which we can get with that right away. It is a dry wine. It is not a sweet wine. I think we're dealing with rich, ripe, and almost dried fruit, not that fresh tart fruit. So we're medium to low acidity.
Okay.
So tartness, sourness, whichever way you want to describe it, that would be the more of that, the higher the acidity. We're talking about a lower acidic wine. The grapes on this guy are Petit Syrah, Barbera, Tempranillo, Syrah, and Grenache.
Oh, wow.
You have never heard me put those all together before. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go into some of the slides. I think it'll play it off better. But it's a great collection of old world, a collection of kind of this old world hits, all put together from different countries in the old world. And so alcohol, 15.5%. So when I say old world grapes, sure, but this is California grown. All of this is California. Aged 10 months in French oak. So French oak is not as aggressively vanilla oaky, which I think we get. It gives you a little more spiciness rather than an oak bomb, and which I think that works quite nicely on this as well. I'd go with a combination of red and black fruit. So I'm getting red cherries, black cherries, maybe some plum, you know, maybe even a little, let me go again.
He's in the middle of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
Jerry and Harriet, did you?
Oh.
I get currant. Johannesberry was the first thing I could taste.
I can go black currant all day on that. I agree with you.
Yep.
And I wouldn't go raisinated, which is, you know, you could get something, but it is a black currant, but you know, like a ripe black currant.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think currant more than say blueberry or raspberry. I'm not getting either of those. No, it's more that cherry than blackberry currant.
Blueberry, dark cherry, jammy fruit.
It is definitely a ripe fruit.
I have to give a quick, huge shout out. It's pouring rain, and my husband desperately told me he was going to cook me shish kebabs on the grill, and he has 3 umbrellas over him.
Those should go well with the wine, though.
Yeah,
it will be great.
Right.
I just went to check the garage that no longer has a garage door, at least right now. So.
That's right.
The wine is very good, though. I like it.
So,
I don't taste any fruit. I just don't like it.
It's a really nice, there's a peppery quality, not just spicy. It's not just baking spice, though that's there. But there's a pepper quality to this guy.
Is that from the barrels or?
So the pepper is going to come from the fruit. We've got Syrah and Petite Syrah, which can both give you peppery qualities, and then Petite Syrah, which is the dominant grape in this varietal, can also give you like some black tea quality. Sip again and see. Think about black tea because I think I'm getting some of that as well.
I'm tasting the currant so much now.
And that dryness, it's almost like a bit of a black tea quality in there. It's subtle, but that comes from the fruit also.
Okay.
I would also go that because this has a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack with all those grapes in there. You're going to have that, which I think is a wonderful thing. Wonderful complexity to this wine, which is one. I love wines that keep you talking. I could say that there's a bit of and once again, another sniff, especially with a minute being open. Especially on the nose, think about a little bit dried roses, potpourri-ish. And that would come from the Barbera and the Garnacha. Okay. Both of those are really floral, what they can give you. Sourcing on this, well, we'll cover this a little bit more. It's basically Northern California. Okay. And we'll talk about the where that is. Okay. Which parts. So
he doesn't own all the grapes.
He does not. He's a negociant.
Okay.
Yep. A negociant, throwing that term out there without explaining, probably not appropriate. He buys his grapes. So he works, he goes, and he sources very specifically. He's not just saying, send me something. You know, he's very picky, but he is a negociant. He purchases these grapes. Okay. Any thoughts from anyone else? I kind of ran through some things before we jumped over to the slides. I think it's got, I tell you, on the aroma, it really has kind of evolved. I really like the combination of a floral note with the pepperiness on the nose.
Yeah, I like it a lot so far. I think it's really well balanced while still being very bold. Like you said, you do get a little bit of that pepperiness. You get some of those floral notes. You get some of those like maybe dried fruits and stuff like that. So it's just like really balanced without being too much in any specific direction that makes you go like, "Whew, boy, that it sure is a in-your-face something or another."
Yeah, I like that observation. I agree. The balance, because it's a big wine, and I think that's where you're going. I agree with you 100%, Chris. It's a big wine, but it's balanced, including finishing dry and finishing with some tannin. So it gives you a nice little dry and a bit of a grip on your palate to cleanse the palate and make you ready for that next sip or make you ready to have that next bite.
It's a shame that Kiwi lost her connection before you talked about the tannin. So you're going to have to,
they're back.
you're going to have to revisit that now.
it could be a fun trip tonight with
Right,
people
as people go in
flashing
and
off.
out,
There's a
yeah.
lot of weather coming through Gainesville right now.
Yes. Do you want me to share?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, combination of grapes. So from origin-wise, from around the world, where they're actually getting, purchasing these grapes, Northern California. But we're dealing with Petit Syrah, a French varietal, Barbera, Northern Italian varietal, Tempranillo, Spanish varietal, Syrah and Grenache, both back to France.
Okay.
So,
and what's the biggest of those grapes? Like the boldest?
The boldest would be the Petit Syrah.
Okay, and that's what I thought too. Yeah. But so I feel like its name is so misleading.
Right. So Petit Syrah, smaller berries, but because you have the smaller berries, it means you have more skin to juice ratio.
Okay.
And with that bigger skin to juice ratio, you're going to have a much more intense grape, bigger fruit character. They have the nice spice and the tea and intense color as well. I mean, we can look at this guy. You cannot see through this wine.
Oh no, absolutely
It
not.
is opaque.
Yeah. So the name is referring to the size of the grape, not the flavor. So let's see, what's the difference between Syrah and Syrah? Okay, Syrah.
So Petit Syrah, S-I-R-A-H, and Syrah, S-Y-R-A-H. They are actually, they're different grapes. The Petit Syrah grape is crossbred with a different, almost extinct grape.
Okay.
It's closer to originates close to the Alps in France. So that would be moving toward Italy. So southeastern, and it has its own style, because it's a crossbreed. People change it. Petit Syrah is sometimes spelled S-Y-R-A-H, just like Syrah.
Okay.
Kind of as a nod to its parentage. But most people in this day and age, it seems to be a little bit fluid. But most people spell it with a differentiator because to let people know it is its own beast, it's going to taste different.
But the Syrah grape is the parent, one of the parents of the Petit Syrah.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And what's the difference in the flavor profile then between the two?
So Syrah is even more peppery.
Okay.
And you can usually see through Syrah. Not always,
so if
but usually
just a single varietal, you'd be able to see.
You'd be able to see, yeah. Okay. It can look like an intense Pinot, and it's obviously flavor-wise much more intense.
Okay.
Syrah is very smoky, and so Syrah, smoky, peppery, red fruit. Whereas Petit Syrah, you get darker fruits.
Okay.
You still get a peppery quality. You get some black tea, which I mentioned, but you get a lot more fruitiness and a lot more tannin.
Okay. What's its other parent?
I can't remember that. It was this nearly extinct.
Okay.
It started with an L, and I was like,
they don't make wine out of just that grape, and it holds itself now. It doesn't have to be
right. It doesn't need to cross back. No, it's by far. By the way, Petit Syrah, though, interestingly, is if I remember correctly, it was about 10,000 acres in the entire world. It is not a common grape, and like Zinfandel, owes almost all of its popularity in the world at this point to the United States.
That's interesting. Yeah. Huh. But you said it's a French grape.
It is a French grape.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I say, the Zinfandel, being Croatian, is almost exclusively grown in the United States. Petit Syrah, French, is vastly largely grown in the United States.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, we do like big fruit in our wines a lot.
Oh, true.
So it makes sense. And if you were to make a Zinfandel Petit Syrah blend, which I'm sure is out there, that would be a beast.
Okay. So that's a project for
you. Finding one that's balanced and not a fruit bomb,
that
would be the project.
Okay. All right. Would you like for me to advance the slides?
Please. All right. So we have a collection of styles on the grapes here. Petit Syrah, you're dealing with thicker skins, a bigger skin to juice ratio, and less involvement of the inner grape with the acidity. So Barbera, on the other hand, has a lot of nice acidity to help give a balance to this guy, keep it a little fresher. Tempranillo is kind of in between the two. It's balanced between the two. Syrah has an intense outer layer, and Grenache has more of a delicate outer layer and a little bit more about what's going on, you know, with the acidity in there. So it jumps back and forth, and you can see where he's balancing these two things.
So because of that, are they like venting them all separately and then blending them?
I have no details on that
Okay.
information.
All right. It just seems to me like if the flavors are coming from different places, that you might have to deal with the grape a little bit differently, but maybe not, because
they could be co-fermented. I would say it's likely to be separately fermented and then blended.
Okay.
With the way that they work with these grapes as they move forward. And we'll talk a little bit about his vision for what he's trying to create. So my guess would be that they are not co-fermented, but that they are separately fermented and then blended.
Okay.
Yes, please. Next one. Okay, so let's go. Changes in latitudes. All right, so here we are. We are back over in California, right in the middle of the wine growing latitude that runs across the United States. And we are going to be sourcing from right up here, Northern California, from nearly the coast to inland.
Okay.
So it kind of runs this whole area. Going into California specifically, here is the area. So we're running from Sonoma, some Napa, then we're going to Mendocino and even the Sierra foothills.
Have we been over there before?
The Sierra foothills?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But it's so you're right.
So far
it's all
inland.
up here. Well, here they are, you know, coming up on the mountains.
Oh, true.
And so even though it's so warm here,
right,
that they can, then it'll cool off and give some more character up there. Yeah. They don't tell me which ones come from where.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I can't answer that info.
Yeah.
But I appreciate if anyone was wondering. Just a little closer. Like you can't quite see the Sierra, you know, Nevada, but it runs right across the same area. Not quite as far north as Clear Lake. All right, Dave Phinney. Really, a lot of the story tonight is going to be about Dave himself.
He's so young looking.
Yeah,
How old is he?
45.
He's very young.
So Dave Phinney, winemaking superstar / rock star, fell in love while studying, in quotes, studying abroad. That was his own statement, all right, in Florence, Italy in 1995.
So he was having fun traveling.
A friend told him, you've got to come over. He did. And so he fell in love with wine in Italy, which I can totally appreciate. Love Italian wine. So then he decided, I've got to be part of wine. And he's from California, so he grew up around it. He certainly grew up with wine being in the discussion. There was no discussion saying he was in the wine industry at all. So he decided he wanted to be part of the wine industry and was able to get a job after college with a little company called Robert Mondavi. Right? I mean, what an incredible influence on the American wine industry. In 1997. So he worked for Robert Mondavi for all of a year and was able to start his own winery, Orange Swift, in 1998.
Wow.
He was a negotiant then too. That's he was purchasing really nice Napa Valley grapes. His pioneering, what he really did is, which you know I'm going to be happy about this, right? He incorporated Zinfandel into high-end red blends.
Okay.
So that he's not the only one,
He
but he
elevated
Zinfandel blend, was one of, not the only thing he did, but it certainly was a very important thing that he did. He loves working with Zinfandel. So he owned Orange Swift, started it in 1998, sold it in 2016.
Oh, wow.
He started the Prisoner Wine Company. So the other thing, we should go on here. Here are his brands. So Dave Phinney started Orange Swift and the Prisoner grapes, the Prisoner Wine Company. These are huge names, huge names in American wine production. He started Prisoner in 2000. So he started Orange Swift in 98, started the Prisoner in 2000, sold the Prisoner in 2010.
Okay.
Sold the Orange Swift in 2016, and then actually started the Locations wines after the in between those sales in 2008.
And the Tuckers say they love Saludo.
Saldo. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Well, that's only because you like good wine. That's right. And that's 100% it.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, very much elevated.
Yeah,
Single varietals
absolutely.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. It's excellent wine. So love his stuff. So let's go on to.
He must have quite a palate.
So here's the Locations Project, which runs all around the world.
Yeah.
So he, let's see here. So he sold the Orange Swift to the Gallo portfolio. He sold the Prisoner wine to the Constellation Brands portfolio. Huge. And like so you hear Gallo, and I was like, Gallo?
Right.
Gallo owns some amazing wines. So there's not just like, yes, they certainly paid the bills with certain wines that you see in grocery stores, but that's really not, when you dig into their portfolio and what they do, that's really not their legacy. They actually own and control and support very high quality wines. So.
Chris and Robin, if you rearrange them, they could spell something else.
Okay.
So each of these are actually vinted in the location that it's like, I'm assuming
That's right.
New Zealand.
Right. So he ran around the world.
California, France, England?
E is España.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
Spain.
Yes.
P is Portugal. AR is Argentina.
Okay.
And TX is Texas.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
Do we have any of that?
No, they don't even bring it into the state anymore.
Oh, no.
I'm afraid they stopped making it.
Because I really would have liked to have tried the Texas.
Because it was Mouvedra and Carignan. And you guys have heard me talk about those grapes. Love those grapes. I really want to drink that wine. Anyway, it's I just looked today. It's not available.
Okay.
Anyway, so of his sales, like Orange Swift, he still works with Orange Swift. He is still the head winemaker for Orange Swift. So he sold to Gallo, but he is still completely involved in the winemaking for Orange Swift. Now, the sale to Constellation, he is not involved in that winemaking anymore. So Prisoner it was started by Dave Phinney, but everything you're seeing now is not made by Dave Phinney.
Okay. And then the Hogsets, where's the eye? Is there an eye?
There is an eye, yes. I tried to get one that showed everything and no picture showed all of it. The eye is in the store. That's Italy. Okay. Which is a great combination of a little bit of Piedmont and a little bit of Puglia. Puglia is big and rich, and Piedmont's kind of that nice flowery lean. It's delicious too. I mean, these guys get 92. Actually, in fact, is it the Italian might be 94? Oh, wow. Yeah, no, they've got, it's delicious stuff. And we'll talk about why is it so good and why is it so reasonably priced, right? We're going to get to that. But
and then it says Adrian Legault up here. So who is
thank you, Adrian Legault, Wine Store Online, for giving me this great picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yes.
Next.
Yes. So, like I said, he's not making the wines at Prisoner anymore. He is making the wines directly for Orange Swift and Locations. Right. And
he still owns Locations, or is that part of Orange?
He sold that one, as far as I can tell. I think because he was already doing so much work with Gallo, when he came up with the concept, they bought it before it was even out. Okay. So he works for Gallo basically, and has sold the concepts. He's doing all right. Yeah. Yeah. And how old is he? 45? 45. Like in my range. The purchase from the purchase price from the first two vineyards of the first two wine brands, 300 million. Wow. Yeah. So how did we come about the Location wines? So the project began in 2008. So that was after the sale of the first one, before the sale of Orange Swift, right? So he went with a friend. A friend said, hey, you need to come see this amazing place in the south of France in the Languedoc. And he did. He was like, okay, I've got a minute. I'll run down there. And he was so impressed that he found a 300-acre vineyard that he just bought. Oh, wow. Because he could, right? Good for him. So so Languedoc's in blue. Languedoc is down there. Yes, thank you. There we go. And this is in the southern part of the Languedoc.
So down here?
Yep, right down there. So let's go ahead on. So this is Maury Languedoc, which is kind of, hey, Maury.
Yeah.
So anyway, but this is his actual vineyard that he bought down there. He saw it, he loved it. He loved the soil content, what was being grown in there. And so he bought this vineyard and was working on an idea for working with the grapes. And while he was there, he was traveling around France and doing what a negociant does. I mean, his whole training was on finding amazing grapes that are being underutilized, right? So he went to different regions in southern France. And he said, I want my grapes to blend with those grapes. But according to the rules within France
is very strict.
They said, oh, well, you can do that, but you just have to call it table wine. You can just call it product of France. And he was really frustrated by that because these were two really good locations.
Right.
But then you blend them together because they're outside of each other's jurisdiction. Now there's no rule that covers it. So now you just have to say Vin de France.
Okay.
You have a question?
I think that was left over from the comment that they put in chat before.
Oh, Linda and Paul, do you guys have the question?
Hey, sorry. Yeah, I even forgot that we had it up there. We actually had two little questions from before, a few slides back, but kind of to Elizabeth's comment earlier about what was the most predominant grape in the wine. Do we know the breakout of the 5 different grapes that are in this?
No, it's not given. No. And I have a feeling that's fluid from release to release. I want to say vintage to vintage, but this is non-vintage wine.
Oh, that's right.
Right. So it's release to release,
Numbered
which
releases.
We'll get into that. I'm actually about to cover why that is. So.
And then the second question that Linda had, the Barossa,
Barbera.
The Barbera, have we had that before?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've spoken about it before, but I was just curious, so when Paul was talking about the breakout, I thought to myself, so most of the time on nutrition labels, because that's what I know, you list ingredients or quantities in greatest to least. So I wasn't sure if Petite Syrah was more of the predominant, and then Barbera, and then Tempranillo, or etc. But I know I feel like we've talked about it before, but I'm just not. I don't remember as much, so I don't know if you could talk about that a little bit more. The Barbera variety.
So yes, I'd be happy to. I put it in that order specifically because that's the order it was listed for me. And I believe that is most to least, though they didn't give me the actual proportions. And then Barbera is the Italian varietal from Northwest Italy, up where Barolo, Barbaresco, and that's where Barbera and Nebbiolo are grown, right? So Barbera tends to be it can be floral and roses and like a lean cherry, raspberry, and really spicy and herby. That tends to be kind of what Barbera is like. We drank a Barbera about a month ago. I think it was about 4 ago.
What's the name of it?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Well, it's Italian words. I'm sorry.
Right.
They slide off my mind after a month, Right. But it was really good. It was actually one that was a little more heavily oaked, which helped to mellow it and made it that much more enjoyable early. So that one was really fun. So we did have a Barbera recently. So I hope that answers. All right. So back to southern France. So he's running around and he's finding these other grapes. He wants to buy them and blend it with his grapes. And he's finding out that he has to just call it table wine. So he was frustrated because this happened in 2008. By 2010, he decided, you know what? Too bad. I'm Dave Phinney. I'm going to do this. And so he's like, that's it. This is going to be a really potentially fantastic wine. If I have to call it table wine, then I'm going to embrace it. And then he was driving. He had just dropped his friend off at the airport. And he saw on the back of a taxi this exact symbol, but with an F. And that inspired him. And he said, why? If I'm going to break the rules in France, I'm going to go around the world and find the best grapes that I think are going to make amazing red blends and break all those rules too.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, that's it. I'm Dave Phinney. That's who I am. Breaking the rules, making this wine. And that's why it's also doesn't have a vintage on it. It just has a release. So this is the CA release number 8 rather than from the year.
I really like that.
Yeah.
It's very out of the box creative thinking. Yeah. I mean, he saw a problem and he found a creative solution to it. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. He had the, he had the celebrity to pull it off.
Yeah.
And we're all benefiting from this because these are excellent wines, really beautifully sourced. And we're able to have them retailed and even on sale for less than $20.
Yeah. You said all the Phinney's are on sale this week?
Yes, every Phinney is on sale.
Yep.
Every location.
If you want to try, okay, every location's wine,
Right.
Not all the orange.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So all the locations wine. So if you wanted to try the eye, the unpictured eye, then you can.
That's right. The eye is there. Yeah. So anyway, I just think that story is kind of fun.
I know. I think it's fantastic. I love that solution to it. I wish I could share it with my students, but I can't because it's such a creative solution.
It is.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? No. I'm going to do it.
But it's alcohol based, so I can't share it with them.
Right. Well, and I think his innovation really shows in the grape selection. This is a crazy combination of grapes. It's so, and it's delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it, anyway, but we'll get into what everyone thinks.
Rachel and I think we need to taste the eye.
Yeah.
Taste the eye because that combination's really good. We looked at that one the other night.
Well, that's
hint.
That sounds like a good idea. We'll do that. All right. So,
should I advance?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe not. All right.
Okay.
So
wait.
let me make sure we covered everything.
I'll go back.
So like I said, he went around the world, broke the rules. I guess I did cover it all.
Okay.
All right. So let's go into the ratings. Here we are. So this guy, 90 to 92, all day long. It's release to release rather than vintage to vintage. It hits in the outstanding, right at the outstanding wine category. What do you guys think?
So you can go ahead and put it in the chat box.
Yep. Give us a little buzz on what you're thinking. Very good wine, special qualities, outstanding, classic, good and solid.
So Brenda, Linda, John, and Laura all agree at 92.
All right.
Awesome. The Tucker's 92.
92, nice. This is great because people get to put their input in and I can
Jerry
drink.
said 92. Woo. Dave 94. Oh wow.
All right. See,
90
Dave was our holdout last week.
Robinson's a 91. Linda 90 from both. 91. Susan and Kristen. And I don't know if Harriet's still trying to type.
No, that was supposed to say me agree.
Okay.
I couldn't see what I was typing, so I just typed it.
I don't know what that means. Do we know what year this is from? Or that's what I was wondering too, because it's the 8th release. Do we know what year that is?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No, I don't. And it makes me wonder if they don't have some grapes from, say, multiple vintages that they're blending.
Okay.
And they're saying, okay, this is what this one's giving to me. Maybe it was the 2017 here and the 18 here.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's even going that way where it's like, okay,
he gets to
we can do what I want.
rules.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of just seeing what 17 has to give, maybe 17 was a really good year for one and not the other. I'm wondering if that's what's going on. There's not a lot of info on that.
Okay.
I mean, I can call Dave up.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I don't think he's going to take my call.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, he might. So actually, Rachel agrees at 94 as well. So Rachel and David agree this week. Nice. That's rare. Yeah, exactly.
So Chris and Robin say, very good with special qualities. Yeah, I'd put it right up there. I think it's really delicious. It's interesting.
I think Chris and Robin were 90, 91.
Well, I was just saying, but right there.
Oh, okay. So. I think very good. I missed that one.
So I think it's delicious wine.
Yeah,
and I think that it is an incredible value.
I don't know how much it is. So
I
never know how much it is. He just comes home with the bottle.
Right. So everyone got it for a little under 20 this week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For this wine?
No, I wouldn't have thought it was that at all.
This wine could
have thought it was easily a $30 bottle of wine.
Right.
Yeah.
Easily.
Easily.
I mean, this could easily be double the price from this week, honestly.
I know the range that we try to keep things in for the tasting. So yeah.
Yeah. No, this guy's on the more, like I said, this is one of the more reasonable ones. And I think so one of my things is, yes, is it delicious? Yes. Is it interesting? Yes. Does it have some unique qualities that make me want to come back and sip more? Yes. And, which I don't normally say this, but I do love it when I can add this on. Does it overperform for the price? I think that is a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Under 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And honestly,
and the Hogs said they would go 93 for sure. Nice. Yeah, I would be right there at 93 also. Nice. Yeah, I really love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just I think it's a really good wine.
Yeah.
You know who's not here?
Who's not here?
Julie.
Oh yeah, I don't know where Julie is.
They missed out. Should have hung out, man.
They did. She would have loved this wine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm glad you guys are liking it. I really am. I do as well. And I like that, I had to call an audible, and it wasn't that I wouldn't have featured this wine. It just wasn't the plan yet. So on the plus side, my reps for this wine were able to accommodate my panic.
It was panic. In fact, because we found out, was it Saturday, Sunday?
Friday.
Was it Friday?
It was Friday.
Okay.
When I was brewing.
Yeah, and he was like, "We're not going to have wine for the wine of the week this week."
Right. I thought we were going to have none.
The truck broke down. They can't deliver. And I said, "Well, could we do like the brown bag wine tasting that they've been looking forward to, and maybe tell everybody come into the store? Right. This is what we're going to do because we don't have enough of any one wine." Right. So yeah, so that almost happened.
Right. Well, thankfully, my wine distributor was one of them was able to make up for the other. So
okay. Oh, that's right. Lily Joy's graduation from elementary school. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, that's why Julie and Brian.
She's missing out. She'll need to buy one of each.
She will.
They're all really good.
So.
All right, awesome. So let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
I'm going to thank my sources here. Mm-hmm. Wine Folly. Actually, locationswine.com, not Whitehall Lane.
That was last week.
That was last week. Wikipedia, Napa Valley Life magazine. That was the picture.
Right. And then Adrian something was on there too.
Yes, them.
Yes. So they're in the chat. So we did.
That's right.
Thank them before too. Adrian Legault.
Oh, there we go.
Yes. So
yeah, I just came across that. I was really just trying to find a picture of all of them, and it wasn't even available on the locations website.
Yeah, you would think they would have
I did a search. I was like, okay, Adrian, thank you so much.
There we go.
All right, so
we have a preview for next week.
Yes, we do.
Assuming the truck does not break down.
Assuming it does not break down again, it will be.
You ready?
Shocker of all shockers.
The Portugal wine.
The Portuguese wine again. All right.
This is the one we were going to have. But this, I'm so glad we had this one. So,
well, I'm glad you guys really like it. I am. I knew that when I threw it out there, I thought, I called you. I was so excited because I said, wait, I can get this one and it's delicious. So there's going to be no fall off on this thing.
No.
But Portugal, we have not done Portuguese wine yet. So let's get on that next week. 93 points Wine Enthusiast, 91 points Wine Spectator. Wine Spectator can be really stingy. So for them getting up there, that's really good. I'm excited about this. I do love Portuguese reds. So we'll talk about where they're growing it, what they're doing with it. A lot of Portuguese wine, just throwing it out there. The word port, when you port wine, that means Portuguese wine. Like
really?
Port wine only comes from Portugal.
I didn't know that.
So not that we are not drinking a port. We're not drinking a dessert wine next week. We're drinking a dry red. But I just thought it was a fun fact.
Yeah, I had no idea. That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
So, and Rachel and David said this was a phenomenal backup. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And the Hogsets agree.
I'm really happy that everyone is happy. Yeah. I was scrambling.
It was really like just pulling a rabbit out of the hat there.
to have it work out. And also, like I say, I really do encourage you guys. This is a great wine. His other blends are fantastic too. They're all on sale. I know that this is the one we drank, but they're all on sale this week. Like, snatch them up while you can at the discount.
Yeah.
So, anyway, food pairings for next week: prime rib, blackened ribeye steak, pulled pork, garlic sautéed shiitake mushroom. I actually really want that.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. So, that sounds like something Chris and Robin will be making next week. So that we're just going to show up. It would be actually be fun just to like.
That's right.
Like,
oh, look, Chris and Robin have they have their video
house.
camera going. We were enjoying Robin's image the whole time, but kind of miss seeing the live action version.
Yeah, there you go. So, and Susan and Kristen said, tell us when you get the Texas in stock.
If I can,
that would be great.
If I can bend an ear enough to try and get a case sent over, I will, because I'm really intrigued. I want the Texan.
I mean, sounds like we need to do like a little road trip to Texas.
By the way, there is wine. There's a wine region of Texas now. It's in kind of the northwest part of Texas. And of course, what part of Texas is not west? But anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, huge state. So it's out of stock everywhere.
Yeah, I have a feeling they just don't make it anymore. I think it's just gone.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I mean, Texan wine is going to be a hard sell.
That's true. If it wasn't selling, then
right.
Sure.
So most likely.
If it's not selling, you're not going to make it. Right. So yeah.
And it wasn't made to age, so it'd be hard to find it in other places.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one we'll just have to deal with. All right.
Stop the share.
Stop the share.
Okay. Any last questions, comments before we turn off the video?
Nothing going down in history. All right. That's just me then. All right. Thank you guys very much for joining us. I'm really glad you liked it. I am not shocked that you liked it because I love these wines too, but it makes me very happy every time that I share something and you guys like it. So I tell you, Dave Phinney, hunt down his wines. They're fantastic.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.